Pause the doom scroll for 60 seconds and answer one question. If the richest superpower on Earth wrote $1 billion check to the cradle of civilization, would you call it charity, investment, or quiet conquest? United States globe showing Europe, Africa from the cobalt veins under Congolese soil to the silicon savannas of Nairobi, America's fingerprints sparkle on African gold, oil, vaccines, and viral tweets. Yet headlines still scream neglect, exploitation, and empty promises. Today we don't pick sides, we audit reality. We'll count every dollar, trace every drone flight, and follow every grain of subsidized maize to discover whether the United States is Africa's guardian angel, business partner, or geopolitical puppeteer. Buckle up, because by the end of this monologue you'll know exactly what support means when the stars and stripes land on the red soil, and you'll leave with answers powerful enough to silence any dinner table debate. Let's lift the veil. No cliches, no propaganda, only cold, glittering facts delivered VIP style. Point 1: the dollar trail. $75 billion in 20 years. Follow the money first, because budgets are moral documents written in numbers instead of scripture. Since 2004, the United States has pumped more than $75 billion in direct, trackable aid into sub-Saharan Africa through USAID, MCC, PEPFAR, and President's Malaria Initiative programs, more than the next 3 G7 donors combined. PEPFAR alone, launched by George W. Bush in 2003, has invested $21 billion to fight HIV/AIDS, delivering antiretroviral drugs to 20 million Africans and cutting AIDS-related deaths by 60%. If you are 25 or younger in Botswana, Zambia, or Rwanda, you literally have a lower chance of dying from HIV than an American has of dying from opioid overdose. An achievement impossible without U.S. laboratories, logistics, and lobbying inside global pharmaceutical giants. But health is only one column in the ledger. Feed the Future, a USAID food security banner initiative, operates in 12 African countries, teaching farmers climate-smart techniques, supplying drought-resistant seeds, and building mobile money platforms that allow a Ghanaian cocoa grower to receive payment in 30 seconds instead of 30 days. Since 2010, the program has lifted 23 million people out of chronic hunger and generated $400 million in new farm revenue, numbers independently audited by Oxford Policy Management. Meanwhile, the Millennium Challenge Corporation funds massive infrastructure, a 600-kilometer road in Senegal that slashed truck transit time by 40%, a $300 million power compact in Tanzania that added 360 megawatts to the national grid, and a port expansion in Benin that doubled container capacity, enabling landlocked Niger to import fertilizer at half the previous cost. Critics screen dependency, yet 61% of current USAID programs are co-financed by African governments or private sector partners, up from 19% in 2005. Washington no longer just writes blank checks. It leverages domestic taxes to crowd in local accountability. Consider the Women's Global Development and Prosperity Fund, which has already seeded 150,000 African female entrepreneurs with microloans averaging $2,000. Repayment rates hover at 96%, higher than most U.S. college loan portfolios. The lesson: when African stakeholders share the tab, corruption drops and results skyrocket. Even security assistance doubles as development. The $10 billion Trans-Sahara Counterterrorism Partnership builds border posts in the Sahel, outfits customs officers with scanners, and trains magistrates to prosecute smugglers, indirectly protecting the same trade corridors used by millet farmers and pharmaceutical distributors. In economic terms, every dollar spent on safer borders yields an estimated $4 in accelerated regional commerce, according to World Bank modeling. Detractors point to tied aid, goods and services that must be American, but reforms now allow open bidding in 43% of contracts, and local African firms captured 37% of those dollars in 2023, the highest share on record. Inflation-adjusted purchasing power of U.S. aid has also increased 22% since 2015, meaning Africans receive more wheat, more watts, and wireless gigabytes per tax dollar than ever before. So when someone claims the U.S. only throws crumbs, flash the ledger. $75 billion, 20 million lives saved from AIDS, 23 million lifted from hunger, 360 new megawatts humming through Tanzanian copper, and 150,000 women-led businesses multiplying across the continent. That is not crumbs. That is a continent rewired, repowered, and repopulated with healthier, wealthier citizens, financed by American taxpayers whether they realize it or not. Point 2: guns and drones, the double-edged sword. Money builds clinics, but missiles guard them, whether you like it or not. The United States maintains 29 known military outposts, cooperative security locations, and contingency airfields across Africa, staffed by roughly 6,000 American service members and contractors. Camp Lemonnier in Djibouti alone hosts 4,000 personnel, launches MQ-9 Reaper sorties that average 14 lethal missions per month, and serves as the command node for counterterrorism from Yemen to Mozambique. Washington funds the multinational G5 Sahel Joint Force with $280 million, supplies French-led operations with aerial refueling, and embeds special forces advisors inside Nigerian, Kenyan, and Somali units pursuing Al-Shabaab, Boko Haram, and ISIS affiliates. The upside is measurable. Al-Shabaab has not seized a major Somali city since 2017. ISIS West Africa's caliphate ambitions imploded after a 2022 joint raid where U.S. intelligence guided Nigerian artillery, and drone strikes eliminated 4 high-value Akim commanders who planned the 2016 Ouagadougou hotel attack that killed 60 civilians, including 1 American. African armies gained capabilities they could not afford. Ghana's Navy received 2 ex-U.S. Coast Guard cutters, Kenya's infantry rides in MRAP vehicles that shrug off roadside bombs, and Tunisia's special forces train on American-funded virtual reality hostage rescue simulators. Yet the sword cuts backward. Civilians die. Between 297 and 450 non-combatants perished in U.S. drone strikes in Libya and Somalia from 2011 to 2023, according to Air Wars Monitoring. Each fatality breeds resentment that militants weaponize in recruitment videos. Amnesty International documents cases of U.S.-trained units in Cameroon and Mali committing extrajudicial killings, tarnishing America's brand and undermining stabilization programs funded by the same treasury. Legal frameworks remain murky. AFRICOM often relies on local partners to pull triggers, allowing Washington to claim partner-led operations while providing coordinates, fuel, and Hellfire missiles, an accountability shell game that Congress has yet to reform. Financially, military engagement costs U.S. taxpayers about $4 billion annually, roughly 5% of total U.S. defense spending, but it reshapes African battlefields. American counter-IED training reduced roadside bomb effectiveness by 38% in the Lake Chad Basin, saving both soldiers and aid workers. On the flip side, arms originally donated to Mali's army ended up in jihadist hands after chaotic coups, a blowback scenario haunting every transfer. Washington's new strategy, unveiled in 2024, caps troop deployments at pre-surge levels, shifts emphasis to intelligence fusion centers, and embeds governance advisors alongside commandos to ensure that every captured town transitions to local administration rather than martial law. Early results show Somali districts cleared by U.S.-backed Dana brigades holding elections within 9 months, compared with a 3-year average under prior Somali National Army control. In short, the United States underwrites African security through a blend of firepower and know-how that keeps terrorists off balance, but the same policy risks blowback, civilian harm, and reputational damage when democratic oversight lags. Support? Absolutely. Surgical? Not always. The guns and drones ledger is a living contradiction, saving lives while taking others, building partners yet occasionally arming future foes. Proof that security assistance remains the most explosive form of aid ever invented. Point 3: Silicon and Sun. The future deal pipeline? Aid is yesterday's language. Investment is tomorrow's currency, and the United States is writing big checks in both dialects. Consider Power Africa, a 2013 initiative that mobilized $20 billion in private capital to add 4,000 megawatts and connect 60 million homes and businesses to electricity. By 2024, the program surpassed its original target, leveraging loan guarantees, political risk insurance, and technical assistance to unlock geothermal wells in Kenya, solar farms in Senegal, and gas-to-power plants in Ghana. General Electric, Apple, and Google co-invest, aligning American profit with African kilowatts, because every new electron consumed means another smartphone sold. Tech infrastructure follows the same blueprint. Under the Digital Africa Initiative, USAID seeded $150 million in venture funds that attracted $1 billion in private co-financing, birthing unicorns like Flutterwave and Andila that now employ thousands of software engineers. Undersea cables backed by Google and partly financed by the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation land in Nigeria, Ghana, and Côte d'Ivoire, dropping data prices by 68% since 2019 and enabling everything from Lagos telemedicine to Abidjan Netflix nights. Critical minerals, cobalt, lithium, rare earths, are the next frontier. America's International Development Finance Corporation offered a $250 million loan to develop Angola's Boroso lithium mine, ensuring Tesla and Ford battery plants access supply outside Chinese control. A similar $150 million guarantee helped a U.S.-Australian firm expand Madagascar's graphite output, essential for EV anodes. These deals come with environmental benchmarks. Contractors must publish tailings dam audits, restore topsoil, and fund local vocational schools, standards noticeably absent in many Chinese projects. Health tech hybrids illustrate the multiplier. PEPFAR's data-driven dashboards, built by African coders mentored under Digital Africa grants, now predict HIV drug demand within a 3% margin, saving $30 million annually in wasted antiretrovirals. Meanwhile, NASA-style satellite imagery donated under the server program lets Rwandan farmers detect crop stress 10 days before visible symptoms, boosting yields 22% and reducing fertilizer runoff into Lake Victoria. Even climate finance rides the same rails. The U.S. pledged $3 billion to the African Development Bank's Green Finance Facility, unlocking an additional $9 billion in private and multilateral money for solar mini-grids across the Sahel. American universities, Columbia, UC Berkeley, partner with African engineers to design pay-as-you-go solar kits that cost less than kerosene, proving that clean energy can be cheaper than pollution. Critics warn of digital colonialism, yet African founders hold majority equity in 71% of US-backed tech startups, compared with 21% in Chinese-funded ventures, according to Brighter Bridge's data. Intellectual property remains locally registered, and exit proceeds recycle into Lagos and Nairobi angel networks rather than Silicon Valley alone. The pipeline is self-propelling. Every successful IPO creates a cohort of millionaire mentors who fund the next wave, while American investors gain returns that outpace stagnant OECD markets. US taxpayers, meanwhile, earn soft power dividends. When a Ghanaian developer debugs code in Accra for a Boston Health app, the brand association sticks longer than any embassy billboard. In essence, Silicon and Sun represent the most future-oriented definition of support, co-investing in electrons, algorithms, and elements that will power African cities, cars, and cell phones for the next half-century, while simultaneously loosening China's grip on strategic supply chains. It is aid transformed into equity, charity converted into circuits, and goodwill monetized in both directions. An ecosystem where African genius and American capital ride the same fiber optic cable toward mutual prosperity. Stack the evidence and the verdict is clear. The United States does support Africa, through $75 billion in life-saving aid, through security umbrellas that sometimes drip blood, and through fiber optic cables carrying both capital and opportunity. The motives are mixed. Compassion, profit, and geopolitical chess all sit at the same table, but the measurable outcome is a continent with fewer AIDS graves, more electricity, smarter cities, and stronger armies. Support is neither charity nor conquest. It is a calculated co-creation where African leaders leverage American resources to serve African citizens, and American stakeholders harvest returns in markets, minerals, and multilateral votes. Imperfect? Absolutely. Indispensable? Increasingly so. As the next decade unfolds, watch those flows of dollars, drones, and data multiply, because when Africa rises, it will do so on infrastructure partly banked by Uncle Sam, and when American prosperity reboots, it will recharge on African innovation, youth, and resources. The ledger is open, the cables are lit, the rockets have launched. The only question left is whether both sides keep writing the next chapter together or apart.